What's going on? My name is Dustin Smith, better known as Bones, and welcome to BonesyTV, where today we're doing a full 1-year review of my HZRDUS PX4 gear and a side-by-side comparison of my new L95. I'm so excited about the L95, you have no idea. So it has been just about a full year since I got my hands on the HZRDUS PX4 gear. And honestly, it's kind of crazy to think that it's already been just about a full year. I mean, I feel like I haven't even been wearing it that long. But time has absolutely flown by, and now I have my hands on a new set of L95, which we will be diving into shortly. But before we get into this whole review, I do want to mention my Goalie Monkey affiliate link. So if you're looking to get any Goalie gear in the near future and you want to help support the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you use my affiliate link. But now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into the review, starting with, of course, the blocker. Now the biggest change with the blocker in the PX4 is going to be the 615 option, or as I like to call it, the 615, because that is also the Nashville area code. But the biggest differences here are going to be the sidewall shape. They have this little portion cut out at the top of the cuff, and the opening here where you hold your stick is a little more open. So I do feel like it's a little easier to hold the stick. Not a huge difference in this area, but this is a little more open. And then of course we have no gap here at the seam where the wall meets the face. So it's a lot more streamlined here. And while they haven't changed anything about the hand positioning or anything like that, it does feel maybe a little more balanced. I've always felt like these Lefebvre blockers have felt extremely balanced, and it's kind of tough to really beat this Lefebvre design. So overall, very balanced, maybe a little more balanced with this 615 option. But a really big change that True has made with their blocker is going to be with the L95 option. Oh, I'm so excited to show you guys this. Look at that. Like, what? It's so simple yet so beautiful. But normally when we talk about a blocker, it's just a blocker and there's nothing really exciting here. But with the L95, there is the introduction of some new features. Now, as a side-by-side comparison, I went with the 615 option again, so not a lot of differences there. But the biggest thing to notice with this L95 blocker is the opti angle. Now, True is saying that this is the biggest innovation to a blocker yet, and what this is going to do is move the blocker 10 degrees forward and 8 degrees to the inside. So now when we're wearing the blocker, it's going to sit a little bit more forward, a little more to the inside, and be just that much more square to the shooter just through a natural hand positioning. I do believe they use some different foams in here, so I'm curious to see if we're going to get some bigger rebound pop. I felt like you got a pretty good rebound pop in the PX4 HZRDUS blocker, but it's not necessarily enough to say that it's like industry leading pop. But through the 1 year that I've had this blocker, I've been really satisfied with the pop that I get off the face. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any difference here in the L95. But overall, I've been very impressed with the HZRDUS PX4 blocker. It's held up really well over the last year. And even that typical wear spot where your stick meets the sidewall, it's held up absolutely fantastically. They have this extra piece of leather here. So as far as durability is concerned, they've really addressed that typical wear spot. And it's really nice to see this blocker holding up so well. But taking a closer look at the L95, this is going to be kind of like their heritage collection, very similar to the L87 compared to the Catalyst. And then taking a look at the back, we do have the L95 branding along with a really cool different Lefebvre logo, which we've seen back in the day, and it's really cool to kind of see this logo being reintroduced. And honestly, I just can't get over the Lefebvre L logo right here. I mean, this is such a good look, especially something that's so simple and bold. The L really stands out, and I honestly love it. But now that we've got that boring blocker out of the way, now we can move into the catch glove. So as a reoccurring theme with this whole set, I really wanted to try some new things. In the blocker, it was the 615 option, and then moving into the catch glove, I ended up changing things up quite a bit and went with the 580 angle instead of my traditional 590. And with this being such a popular catch angle, trying it on for the first time, I figured out right away why everybody loves it so much. And there's really no denying the fact that this pocket feels huge. I don't know if it actually is that much bigger than every other catch angle, but something about the way this is built just like feels way bigger than every other glove that I've used in the past. And as far as an aesthetic and, you know, the way this glove closes, it's very unique compared to your typical glove on the market. And especially lately, the 580 has really kind of taken over the whole industry, and you're really starting to see other brands try to copy it, but there's nothing quite like the LaFave 580 break. But I gotta be honest, me personally moving into this glove, I really had mixed feelings about the catch angle in general. It definitely took me a while to get adjusted to it, and I really felt like I was having a hard time with the shots over the pad under the glove, which may or may not already be an issue for me. So making that an even bigger issue was kind of a struggle for me early on, but also the more I played with it, the more I loved it. I don't know, like I said, I have mixed feelings about the catch angle in general. But 1 year later, similar to the blocker, I can say this thing has really held up really well. Like, I'm actually surprised how well all of this gear is held up. I mean, even these typical wear spots that you would get right here at the palm, it's like kind of starting to wear out, but not nearly as much as my previous gloves have. I will say that after a full year of absolutely beating this thing up, I do have some cracks here in the palm, so I actually might end up having to send this to the Goalie glove guy, just to have him fix it up for me like he did my L12.2 glove. He did a fantastic job with that, so heads up, I might be sending this over to you, buddy. But of course, in comparison to the HZRDUS PX4 glove, I also have here my HZRDUS L95 glove, and we kind of changed things up a little bit. First things first, this is an absolutely stunningly beautiful glove. I mean, I haven't done this much white in a custom set probably ever. I think the last time I had this much white in a set in general was back when I was wearing Pekarine's gear back in the Reebok XLT days. I'll see if I can find a picture for you guys, or at least like some sort of clip that I can throw in there. But I couldn't be happier with how this thing looks. I mean, it's beautiful, man. Like, the graphic on here is so simple, and I'm the kind of person who really likes a super simple, bold look, and this graphic just, it's it, man. That's what it is. It's simple and bold, and I am absolutely here for it. But comparing it to my HZRDUS PX4 glove, we decided to go back to the 590 break, this time with the offset single T. It's actually been a very long time since I've done the single T. In fact, the last time I did a single T is actually my LaFave branded CCM eFlex 3 glove. And this is really when I was super into the 590 offset T. I mean, I really thought it was such a unique look. And I just loved the way this closure felt. But speaking of the LaFave branding, here we see that old school logo on the side of this glove. And same thing we're gonna see back here on the back of the L95 glove. But I'm obviously very excited to get this thing on the ice. So far I have loved the HZRDUS PX4. The 580 has been kind of like, it's been giving me mixed feelings, so jumping back into the 590 should feel like home. Alright, so now that we got the gloves out of the way, let's just dive into the meat and potatoes of this whole review. The True HZRDUS PX4 leg pads. So for starters with this pad, I went with a 34+2, and my FTK is about like a 21.5, so it puts me right there in the 34-inch sizing, and I thought that +2 was going to be perfect, but I feel like I needed just like a little bit more. So that 34 plus 2.5 probably would have been absolute money. Not to say that ½ inch was really that big of a difference. I just kind of felt like I should have gone with maybe like that ½ inch more. But the absolute first thing that I noticed while playing in the set was the stiffness. And like I said before, this whole set was kind of an excuse to try some new specs that I have never tried before. Traditionally, I like a softer pad, and over the years, I've really been moving into pads that are more and more stiff. So moving into this set, I went as stiff as possible. But this was also the first time I had tried the extra thin thigh rise, so I really kind of went all out with the extra thin, extra stiff, and at first, I gotta be honest, I was absolutely fighting with these pads. They were just so much more stiff than what I was used to, and it really took a long time to adjust to that feeling, but I think the thing that really saved me was the break at the knee. It definitely took me a while, but once things started breaking in, I started getting some really good flex at the knee. Things started to feel much, much better. But as far as trying something new, I knew this was gonna be a tough spec for me to move into, and after trying it out, I do really like the consistency that the pad has throughout the entire core. And a big reason why I've been going stiffer and stiffer in my pads is because I really like how they don't twist at all. There's no torsional twist throughout the pad and everything stays nice and consistent. But speaking of torsional twist and stiffness of the pad, the slide on these pads have been absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't know if I've ever had a pad that slides this good. Something about the foams that they use on the landing in combination with the weave material just like absolutely slices through the ice, and that was another thing that I kind of had to adjust to. I mean, my pads in the past have had really good slide, but on top of the fact that they were really stiff and I was fighting them, I also felt like I was maybe over sliding a touch, especially early on. So I really felt like I was exhausted by the end of a skate because I was working a little more just to kind of like keep my balance and not move any more than I actually needed to. But of course, anytime it came to any kind of sliding situation, oh my God, these things have performed incredibly well. Of course, continuing with the stiffness theme, talking about rebounds, the rebounds come off hot. I'm not going to say that they're like industry leading, kind of like the blocker where you get really good pop, but it's not like this unbelievable kind of like shockingly absurd amount of rebound, but you do get really good pop off of this pad. And this is also the first flat face pad that I've had since my L20.1, so it was kind of cool getting back into that flat face pad, but I can't really say that I've noticed a huge difference in like rebound consistency. But talking about the outer roll on the Hazardous pad, they do have that angled outer roll, and I don't know for sure if it's bailed me out any more than a traditional outer roll, but with it being angled, you know, you do like to think that it takes up maybe a little bit more space or kind of gets like that angle advantage compared to a traditional outer roll. Moving down into the boot angle, I've stuck with my traditional regular boot angle instead of the open boot angle, and I've been extremely happy with that still. And even going with the stiffer flex option, I feel like it gives you almost like a springboard effect when you're pushing off your post out of the RVH. But speaking of push off the post, moving into the push toe ties. On this pad specifically, I ended up stepping on the push toe ties on this pad, broke it, and then just put traditional skate lace in here. But I kind of figured it'd be a cool way to test out, you know, a side-by-side comparison between regular skate lace and the new push toe ties. And in all honesty, I can't say that this is like a game-changing feature. I mean, you get the bungee here at the end with these Velcro attachments, which I do really like this feature. I mean, I know that this is locked down, it's not going to go anywhere. Where the skate lace, I feel like, you know, you end up in those situations where somehow they just kind of come untied, where with this, I know it's locked down. And then with the attachment at the toe, you get a certain amount of length, and then I added a little bit of my own in here, and honestly I've been happy with the push toe ties, but I can't say that there's really that big of a difference between the skate lace and the push toe ties. But of course, the fact that they come with it is a nice added feature. I mean, this kind of makes this pad feel, I don't know, maybe just like a little more premium than it does with regular skate lace. But kind of as another reoccurring theme with this review, the durability in these pads have been surprisingly good. Typically you'll see a wear spot right up here at the top of the pad, and not to say that it isn't worn down, I don't even know what that one looks like right now, but I mean, these typical wear spots are looking great. Even on the slide surface of the pad, absolutely nothing going on here, where usually you'll kind of start to see some breakdown in the landing area, but honestly, I feel like that's pretty traditional for a pad getting into like 1.5 years, if not 2 years. So it's good to see that this is holding up just fine. Another typical wear spot that I've noticed in the FRS system is right here at the top, where you're getting this top material kind of rubbing up against the Velcro part in the bottom of the knee block. And then after a solid year with the push toe ties, I can say that they've started to kind of like, they've been beat up a bit, and I've actually put some clear tape around some of the spots and started breaking down a bit. But other than that, everything else held up really well. But what I am really impressed with is the discoloration on the back, which was actually a really big concern of mine. And I've gone as far as to make sure that I don't wear dark colored socks. So I usually either wear white socks or navy socks, and I've been trying to stick with the white socks when I wear these pads. And you can obviously see there's been some discoloration going on in here, which was expected. And I was really scared of that, especially up here in the thigh area where the pant ends up rubbing up against the pad. But I mean, these things have held up really, really well. And I can honestly say they've broken in fantastically, especially with how stiff they were to start compared to how they are today, where I feel like they play much, much better, and they've definitely settled into more of my playing style, but again, still maybe a little on the stiff side. But of course, now we got to compare it to the L95, which I'm so excited about these pads. The glove and the blocker are fantastic. The pads are, I'll show you. I'm just gonna have to show you. I mean, look how beautiful these things are. I can't get over these, and these turned out so good. Now right away, comparing these to my Hazardous set, I went with a 34 plus 2.5, so I'm excited to see if that extra ½ inch is going to give me a better feeling as far as sizing is concerned. I got a good feeling it's going to be like right on the money. I also didn't go as stiff as I did in the Hazardous set, so instead I just went with the normal stiff instead of the extra stiff, but stuck with that extra thin thigh rise because honestly, as far as a thigh rise is concerned, I really do like that extra thin profile. And obviously looking at the pad, this actually has a set of knee rolls on it. And like I said earlier, the L95 is kind of like that Heritage Collection version of the Hazardous. So this is basically a Hazardous pad with a different graphic, added knee rolls, and another thing that we see specifically on the L95 is this angled outer roll towards the top of the pad. And another thing that we notice in this pad specifically is the diamond glide material that was introduced with the Catalyst PX5 pad. And as far as the graphic is concerned, I really tried to mix in these different textures. So here I have some regular weave, then we have the diamond glide, and then we have the regular Gen Pro. So I don't know, it's just kind of something that I like to do with all of my sets, is add different textures. Not really something that you notice from far away, but once you get these things in your hands, it's kind of cool to see those different textures. But as far as a look in general, like I said earlier, this is the most white I've had on a set probably ever. I mean, as far as a custom set for myself is concerned. And I've always kind of tried to stay away from any kind of like, I don't know, I'm going to call it like traditional NHL colors. I mean, as an emergency goalie, I kind of want to like leave that to the pros. You know, I'm not a pro guy, I'm not on an NHL team, so I don't want to necessarily look like an NHL guy, but like, come on man, this set looks like it belongs in the NHL. But after 1 year, I can honestly say that I've been extremely impressed with the HZRDUS PX4, especially when we talk about durability, and performance has been great. Some specs that I tried out that I don't know, didn't necessarily thoroughly enjoy, but I'm glad I tried them out, and now I know what I like and what I don't like. And I feel like moving into the L95, I'm going to be absolutely dialed with my specs. But that being said, absolutely be on the lookout for more content on the L95. If you have any questions about that gear that you would like me to answer, feel free to put them in the comments below. And if you're looking to pick up a set of HZRDUS PX4 or the HZRDUS L95, make sure to use my Goalie Monkey affiliate link, which I'll leave in the description below. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll see you around. I don't even know how I got this to stand up. Kind of incredible, really. Oh, I'm so excited about these pads, man. Holy.